Yo, yo, yo. How's it going? How's it going? Yo, what's good? What's good? How's everyone? You all excited or what?
Yes, let's do it.
Hey, let's go, let's go. Wicked, wicked, wicked. Morning, afternoon, evening, good night. Skip breakfast for the sauce. Yeah, man. This is the chili sauce. Stoked. Let's go, let's go. Perfect, man. We'll give it just a give it a minute. Just see if anyone else joins. Make it fair. But gonna be good. Let's see. No ketchup, just sauce. Tabasco. Does everyone know how to like raise your hands on this? Is everyone good with that? On the chat. Raise your hand. How the fuck? Lower hand. Okay. Right, I don't know how to actually raise my hand on it either. So I'm just checking if you do. Oh shit, I found it. Sick reactions. Okay. Got it. Nice one. Cheers, man. Love heart, yeah, Alex. I see. Nice. All right. Let's begin. 2 seconds. Let me share my screen. Yo, can you all see?
Yeah.
Nice. Perfect, man. So let's begin. Obviously, this Zoom call, this strategy call, all about entry models, how we get in, which should be obviously the last thing that you should ever think about in terms of trading, in terms of your analysis. If anyone has any questions, obviously raise your hand. We're going to go through them during or after the call. But basically, yeah, entry should be always the last thing that you should consider. Or after you've done your whole top-down analysis, right? That's when you get in. Like everyone wants to like just be able to catch every move up and down, like ping pong in the markets. Yeah, thinking that's profitable, but trust me, it's not. I've done that, been through that, and it doesn't work out in the long run. It's not consistent. Like you might feel good at one time, you catch it from the bottom here or the top of this wick. You might feel good 1, 2 times, but trust me, doing that every single time, getting clap city every time, it just doesn't work out in terms of consistency, in terms of long run, in terms of managing big accounts or risking big money on them. It's not the safest thing to do, right? If in terms of like, let's say prices just shoot into the sky and you're trying to short it from this top so we can keep shooting up to the sky, like this is pointless. Yeah, trying to predict the market too much, trying to like be on the wrong side of the market when the wave is bullish, like the train is going to the moon and you're just standing in front of a moving train towards you, just waiting to get clapped. Yeah. So obviously, after you've done your high time frame analysis, then we go on to lower time frames, obviously, just to be involved with the high time frame intentions. Yeah. And hopefully, everyone has looked at the statistics from DBS. Amazing. Like, honestly, we're going to go through this today. As you can see, quick stats show 50% strike rate in London, 71% strike rate in London low, which is just 2 hours after London opens, like 10 a.m. UK time till 1 p.m., which is just New York open. Yeah. So it's 3 hours. Like if you only have 3 hours in a day, you can just choose between one of these sessions timings. Yeah. Like all of them are great. There's not just like, yes, it shows like London low is like the most profitable in terms of strike rate, in terms of your the winners and everything. Like a lot of them are coming in London low, just pre New York. But again, 40%, 38%, even 11%. I think someone said like if you have 11% strike rate with a 10R full volume strategy, then you're still profitable. So imagine 40%, 50%. Like it's insane. Like imagine like how crazy that is. So I love this strategy in terms of how great it is with your psychology, how good it is with your like risk parameters, like in terms of how much you can risk. You can be safe and confident to risk 1% on any account size. Like, I'll have let's say like the 300K account, right? Like risking 1% on that is 3K, right? Cool. Like, but would you be confident to do that on another account? Like even on a small account? Like people are scared to do that, right? And obviously it comes down to the strategy that you've probably learned before, or the entries, just taking too many losses. You're scared of taking, like, risking 1%. And in terms of the whole bigger thing, like 1% is actually very small. And like if an account has 100% in an account, right, 1% of 100% is not much, right? Is it? Like it's like a little drop, yeah. Obviously the funded account stuff is obviously like you got 5% drawdown, 10% and stuff. But if you treat it the same way and you have a -2% loss limit per day that you stick to, and if you look at any sort of profitable trader who's consistent, or any sort of stats, even the MFF stats show you that says like only the, like, where is it? So people risk, look at this, right? The best funded traders risk no more than 1% per trade. And where's the one? So look at this, right? They don't go and draw down more than 3% per day. So 2% to 3%, right? But our staff says 2%. If you can stick within these limits, then you're probably like the top 5% of traders, right? Top 5-6% of traders in the world. If you can just stick to these like simple rules and limits, yeah. As you can see, 3% of funded traders lose their money in the first month due to poor risk management. Don't be like them. Like poor risk management, like literally all we have to do is walk away after you've taken a couple losses, yeah. But it's that thing about walking away. Can you walk away? Or are you like now in a revenge state of mind? Yeah. Like FOMO, and you're seeing other people catching trades, whether that be on a 0.01 lot size or something you don't know, but you're just jealous of them or something, right? So you're just over trading and stuff. But literally, when you know that you only need like one trade, even a month on a fund account to make a lot of money, your whole mindset should shift. Yeah. So in terms of this, right? Like there's a couple of entry models, yeah. Either you got the inside of the 4-hour POIs or outside of 4-hour POIs. So these are, I keep things very simple and very systematic, and this is how trading should be. Like I strongly believe if you have a simple systematic plan, you can be very profitable. You just need to have good mindset as well, obviously psychology, which does make up 80% of your trading. And I strongly believe like technicals are only 20%, because technicals literally like you're drawing a couple of boxes, you're drawing a couple of lines, and you click and buy or sell. It's not physically demanding or hard, yeah. In terms of what's mentally demanding or mentally hard is actually being patient to wait for that setup, to not execute sometimes when it's just like choppy or shitty price action or not in your session. Keeping under your limits of your risk parameters and stuff. These sort of things, is what makes or breaks a trader. Yeah, it's what makes a successful trader, or destroys a trader, like amateurs, noobs, and you don't want to be like that. Yeah. So let me share my screen on TradingView, and we're gonna go all over these two entry models together. Okay. Okay. Sick. So I'm gonna start from a blank sheet. Basically, we're gonna go through everything, like from top to bottom. Yeah, like from scratch. I want to show you everything from like the wealth strategies. How to analyze it, how to mark it up and everything, and how it should look like. Because it should either look like one thing or another thing, and it has to look exactly like this or exactly like this, and then we execute the trade. Yeah. Like it can't just be so subjective, it has to be very clean, very nice, very easy to see for everyone's eyes. So that's what I love about it, being very objective about how trades should look. So that means, you can risk your 1% on that setup, because in terms of probabilities that like they work out a lot often. And when they do work out, it's at least 10R. When they don't work out, it's -1, and that's no problem. Yeah. Like that means you have to lose like 9 more times, like to lose all your profit. But in terms of the statistics show, and even like trading shows, like you should not be losing like more than 3 times in a row before you catch a 10R. So you need to be very robotic, very systematic, with how you actually place in trades. Okay, so there's a couple of ways, that we should be trading in terms of the entry model, right? So let's talk about this. Let me draw it out for you. Right. So the first one is all about when you are outside of 4-hour POI, 15-minute order flow range. Yeah. So when you are outside of a 4-hour POI, right? Even inside, but when you are outside, especially, then you need to always only be looking at 15-minute at the 15-minute time frame in terms of your order flow range. Yeah. On the other side, we have inside of a 4-hour POI, or coming like from it to catch the first reversal entry, 5-minute order flow ranges. Yeah. Okay, so if I let's talk about this one first. Yeah. So if I was to draw this out for you, it will look like this. So let's say price is making higher highs and higher lows on the 15-minute order flow ranges, or we're just making these bullish order flow ranges. Yeah. So what does price do now? It has to break this low for it to be a 15-minute chalk. Yeah. So now we have this 15-minute chalk bearish. Okay. So now, right, for you to look for a sell, right here, this is what we need to do. 15-minute is now bearish, right? What you got to do is make sure you have your premium discount tool from the high to the low, and only make sure you only sell, right, when price gets into the premium of the range. Yeah. Just don't continue to looking for sells here with like 1-minute order flow ranges or anything, 1-minute continuations, trying to sell. No, right? You don't know at any moment when it's going to reverse from the bottom, right? So you're in very discounted place to look for sells. Yeah, you should never be doing that, because if in any sort of business, like you always want to buy something cheap at a lower price and then sell it expensive, right, to make any sort of profit, right? It's kind of like a foundational aspect and rule of like any sort of business. We should be doing the same thing, is like buying low and selling high, right, to make profit. So in terms of like catching the sell, yeah, how do we do this? So obviously now we have the premium area, which is all of this pricing above the 50% of the range, yeah. And what we've got to make sure is obviously having 15-minute POIs marked up in the premium only. So that means that you avoid taking any sort of crappy POIs down here, low probable POIs. We only want to catch high probable entries, meaning like we need to make sure it's in the premium of the range. We need to make sure it's a strong POI, high probable POI, which if you go over last week's video, you'll see which POIs I'm talking about. So we either have an extreme of the range, we either have like a SD flip. Let's just have them two for now. Yeah. So let's say, we interacted with like a demand level here, and then we flipped and broke it. Yeah. Done something like this, right? This interaction with the demand, and then gives a flip, gives a reaction, and then ends up breaking the low, right? So we have a flip zone, we have an extreme, for example. So let's say these are our two POIs that we want to sell from. So what you should be doing is this: have an alert here. Yeah, literally just have an alert. Like, what else are you going to do? Are you going to buy here? No. Are you going to sell here? No. Right? So you're not doing anything until this happens, right? So then why don't you just have an alert here? Yeah, have an alert and wait for price to come to you, right? Don't chase price. Don't try and be like, oh yeah, it should pull back now, let's look for buys. No, don't fucking do that. Wait for the pullback, and then wait for sells. That's it. Just have one trade idea, one direction. Yeah, you should be like, okay, if it does this, I'm only looking for this. Yeah, if it comes, and then yeah, like we'll talk about the other entries later. But in terms of your trade idea, you should have one trade idea. Either you're going to be right or you're going to be wrong. Yeah, and that's good. I like to be 100% right or wrong. I don't want to be like 50-50, meaning like, I took the trade, but I got a stop loss on the way to my actual TP. Yeah, when I'm 50% wrong, this is horrible. you don't want to do that. Yeah, I'd rather be 100% wrong, meaning like your stop loss is well protected above like highs and stuff, and you know that if it hits your stop loss, you are 100% wrong on the whole trade idea. Yeah, and that's great, right? Okay, so now we have 50-minute POIs here and here. Okay, so now we have to talk about and look at inducement, right? So a major thing, to avoid losses, avoid being like an early seller, early buyer, is to make sure that you have inducement, liquidity inducement before your POI, right? On the 15-minute time frame as well. So the liquidity inducement needs to be on the same time frame, like the 15-minute, right? For the POI, yeah, that you want to see an early seller getting swept, right? Before you take in the real move, right? You want to see someone liquidated, right? To gather that fuel before the real move, right? To gather enough orders so that we can actually move to the downside to the intended direction already built by the markets. So what that looks like, right, is meaning that before the POI here, right, or here or here, right, before the POI itself, not like down here, yeah, like it has to be close to the POI itself. It has to be someone to sweep and then move down, right? Sweep and then go down, right? It can't be a sweep if it's just making like, let's say it's inducement here, right? To get from here to here, how is that going to happen? Is it going to sweep and do this? No, not really, right? It's going to continue to make like higher highs and high lows, right? Now this is no longer a sweep, is it? This is just making bullish order flow. It's a different story altogether, yeah? This is not enticing early sellers. Why are you going to sell if price is going higher? You're not going to sell. But when it switches bearish, for example, now you're going to be interested in selling, aren't you? Right? It's the same thing. It's like, is this really enticing you to sell? Not really. But if there's something before your POI, then that might make you to sell earlier. Yeah. Let's say that there's a POI here, for example, in the discount, right? So what inducement looks like, it could look like this. Yeah. So what really, it should just look like a bullish buy to sell candle, which could be a POI. But instead of using it as a POI, we want to see a sweep and then take your entry from inside of the POI, like the 1 minute chock and everything, right? And something, let me see, right here. So in terms of liquidity inducement, right, on a 15-minute time frame, as you can see, right, this was your sell to buy that takes us higher. So we are bullish in terms of your order flow range, yeah? Static, I think it's just you. So yeah, we're bullish on our order flow range, yeah? So let's say we have a POI in the extreme, somewhere here, that's engulfed in another time frame, a higher time frame, like 16, 17 minutes, something. So let's say our POI is down here. So do we have inducement before the POI? Yes, we have this right here, yeah? So can you see how this is just like a sell candle and a bullish candle, which makes up like a demand zone, right? So again, you could use this demand zone as well as a POI, but can you see how there's literally no inducement before the POI, just one clean push, right? Just all imbalance. There's nothing there. There's no one to do business with, no interaction or nothing, yeah? There's no one to sweep, right? But when now you have like a sell to buy price action, this demand zone, we can now use this low, right, as liquidity for the lower POI itself, yeah? And as you can see, like price literally came down, swept these lows to come into this before making higher pricing. So if there was an entry in there, we could have taken it, right? But unfortunately, there was no entry in there. But in terms of the concept, this should look like, this is what it should look like, a bearish candle and a bullish candle, yeah? It can't be looking like, you know, these sort of wicks, right? Sell to buy wicks or anything, or this long wick or something. This is not inducement, yeah? So that's what I want to see here before the POI, okay? So now let's see, when we now come in, what the fuck is this? Shit. Okay, so now when we come into the POI itself, right, this is what we need to see. Let's say we have a let's say we have like a POI here, yeah? And we can use this as like a structural, as like liquidity right before this POI, okay? So when it comes into the POI itself now, let's say 1 minute is bullish coming into it, yeah? So now we sweep this high, yeah? So let's say we have swept liquidity. So now on the 1 minute time frame, simply, all you need to simply see is a 1 minute chop, which is this, yeah? Can you see how it's taken the high here? We were just bullish order flow, and then simply it's taken out this low, right? This low should have been protected to continue higher pricing, yeah? This low here. But obviously breaking this bullish order flow, this cutoff of this bullish flow, right, has now given us this change of character, which has given us like new information that, okay, maybe that we may see lower pricing, right? So simply now we have this 1 minute chop bearish, right? Let me just mark it out for you. So now we have 1 minute chalk bearish, yeah? So now this part is very important, right? The part about what happens after this 1 minute chalk is very, very important about how you actually get into this trade now, yeah? Because this part, this rule applies here now, okay? So if the 1 minute range, right, is the same as the 15-second range, right, then we don't need extra 15-second chalk for confirmation, right? Meaning like if this 1 minute push down here, yeah, this 1 minute break, this range, right, is exactly the same as if you go down to the 15 seconds and look at that same range. It's the same, like it's just one push, yeah. 15 seconds is just still the same push, yeah. Then what you can just simply do is simply enter on the mitigation and take the trade, yeah. Simple 1 minute chalk, right? Simple 1 minute chalk entry, take it, stop loss above the highs, you know, whatever the stop loss size is, as long as it's underneath 2 pips is good enough, yeah. Like obviously you want to make sure you get it as like tight as possible. Like if you can, my average stop loss is between like 1 pip to 1.5 ish, you know, so roughly around that figure, yeah. Like especially a London session, you can get smaller stop losses. In New York session, usually it can go a bit higher to like 1.8 or something like that, yeah. Due to the volatility, due to the pips ranges, it will just increase in size naturally, but that's fine because it's all relative. So if it gives you a bigger stop loss size, maybe as well it'll give you a bigger pip range in terms of the actual TP and stuff as well. So if you can still catch your 10R, then that's good enough, yeah. So this is the first entry model, as in if the 1 minute range is the same as the 15-second range, then you don't need extra 15-second chalk for confirmation, right? However, right, if the 1 minute range is pretty large, and let's say the 15-second has to chalk back to bullish in this scenario, right, to get back into this 1 minute POI, right, then 100% use another 15-second chalk right here, right, to actually get into the trade, right? So having basically, right, having 15-second chalks in both scenarios, having 15-second order flow ranges in every scenario is just so high probable, like so high probable, very, very much so, yeah. Like literally the statistics I'd shown you earlier, how it increases so much in terms of the strike rate, is when you have 1 minute chalk and you have 15 seconds in your favor, right? It's crazy. It's amazing. So what that means now, let's say for example, the 15 seconds, you know, has to, let's say the 1 minute looks like this, but then the 15-second, you know, is doing this inside of it, right? And it has to chalk bullish to get back into this 1 minute POI, 1 minute here. So then we have to now wait for another 15-second chalk to actually take this trade, yeah, which is like this. Okay. So simply, right, you take this entry model, right, either in this POI here or this POI here, right? And this is with the 1 minute, this is with the 15-minute inducement already swept already, yeah? So if the 15-minute inducement has already swept, we can look for this entry model here, right? So let's talk about if the 15-minute inducement, there wasn't any, yeah? It's just clean push down, just all imbalanced. There's nothing there, right? It's just imbalanced. So let's say there's no liquidity to be swept, right? So now you can't take this entry just like this, right? So now this is important. Right here. So now there's no inducement here, yeah? So now if there's no inducement on the 15-minute, okay, the 1 minute needs to now create liquidity inducement before the POI, or even in the POI if it's big enough, right? So what you could do is a couple of things. Let's say it comes up on the 1 minute time frame, right? And it gives you a series of like double tops here, yeah, like equal highs, generating liquidity above here, right? So now simply this is happening before the POI here, or even inside it could happen, right? And all you're waiting for now is simply for this liquidity inducement to be swept first, right, on the 1 minute time frame, right? So now that's enough. Sweep it, give you the chalk, which is right here, takes the high here, takes the low here, yeah. So there's bullish order flow. Then you have a cutoff of this bullish order flow because this low should have been protected to continue higher pricing, right? But cutting off this bullish order flow, meaning now we have this bearish order flow coming to the market, and then now we can look for the entry, yeah. So this is one way. right? And then the way that I showed you earlier about this, right, applies to every single entry. Yeah. So after that 1 minute check happens, right, this applies to every single entry. Yeah? Literally this. So make sure you have a pen and paper right now and you're writing down everything. Like literally, you should be writing down everything. That's the best way to learn. Okay. So let's say we don't have equal highs. Yeah. The second thing it could do is this: 1 minute coming up bullish, right? But then we get this 1 minute chalk here, right? And this is simply what I just call the fake chalk, right? Fake chalk meaning because this first chalk here could just be, right, generating liquidity inducement above this high, right, to be used as fuel to sweep, right, before the real move to the downside. Okay. So all we're waiting for is not to take an entry from here to here, right, on that 1 minute chalk, right, is to wait for the sweep of this 1 minute high, 1 minute chalk, right, this fake chalk, and then simply take a second chalk after that. Okay. So use this high as now inducement, because remember the 15 minute has nothing. Yeah, there's literally no inducement right here. So on the 1 minute, it has to create something. Yeah, on the 1 minute, not 15 seconds, not 5 seconds, not nothing. Yeah, literally the 1 minute now, it has to create this inducement, meaning give you the fake chalk, give you equal highs, right? Sweep them, right, and then give you another 1 minute chalk. Yeah, another one. Again, not a 15 seconds, it's another 1 minute chalk. Yeah. So now we look for the same entry model I just showed you here. If the 1 minute here is the same range, we can just simply, execute right here. But if the 1 minute and 15 second is different, let's say in this 1 minute leg, the 15 second is bearish, then it goes bullish, chucks on the 15 seconds, it chucks on the 15 seconds to go bullish inside of this range. Then, like I said, you need to wait for 15-second realignment. Yeah. Just like that. Okay. So literally, this is it. Like on the first, this is outside of a 4-hour POI. So if it's just in a simple, like nowhere, let's say there's no 4-hour POI and you're waiting for the entry model to present itself, then, this is what it should look like in terms of there's no 4-hour supply zone or anything, right? But what you can do instead is use a 15-minute chalk now to look for sell, right? So in terms of what a 15-minute chalk can look like, it can look like this. So here, as you can see, we have a bearish candle, right? Which is necessary. You need to have at least one bearish candle, in the range, and we need to have one candle basically inside of the range as well, right? Before we break the high, and there has to be a gap, right, between the high and the break. Yeah. So in the pullback itself, like just in here in the pullback, there's a gap right there, that separation. Yeah. So I want to see that separation. I want to see that clear interaction that we have supply trying to push price down. However, demand steps into the market right here to then push price higher. Yeah. I want to see that clean, nice order flow, right? So obviously we take the high and then we take the low right here, right? And this is just all bearish, bearish, bearish. So there's no clean pullback or anything, meaning that this is all the same leg. Yeah. So when it's all the same leg, what you can do now is simply have your range marked up from the high to the low. Yeah. So let me go over this entry and then I'm answer your questions so far. So can you see how, okay, we have this whole bearish order flow leg. Yeah. 50-minute is bearish from here to here, breaks here. So whereas the premium is up here. Yeah. So we only want to sell from premium. That's it. Yeah. There's no sells down here, nothing. Right. So let's say, okay, we want to sell from premium, for example. We have a POI, for example, on another time frame. Can't remember which one. It comes into something. These wicks here, yeah. These buy to sell wicks. Buy to sell. Yeah. This is the buy to sell. This is the ST flip that broke the range, right? This buy to sell. So if it comes back into here, comes into the extreme, right? We can look for an entry, right? So go back on 15. So the question is now, do we have 15-minute inducement before the range? Not really, right? We see all these wicks and stuff, right? There's no bullish candle in the range. There's nothing as a POI to use, right, as like inducement. So that means that 1 minute needs to create inducement, okay? And the thing is as well, The other option is if the 1 minute doesn't create inducement before, right, the POI, right, it can also create inducement afterwards as well, right? So let's say this doesn't happen, yeah. Let's say this doesn't happen, okay? And let's say now the 1 minute does this. 1 minute chucks here, yeah? But let's say, for example, it does a flip and chuck, right? So now the 1 minute has enough flip and a chuck right here. And now can you see how we have like a flip, ST flip POI, we have an extreme POI, yeah? But can you see how there was no 15-minute inducement in this leg, right? Before the POI. And then there's no 1 minute inducement that was generated and swept before as well, the 15-minute POI. So now what you got to make sure is that the 1 minute, now actually sweeps liquidity afterwards, meaning that, you know, how this high is what flipped and broke the range. So if we break this high, then we have a 1 minute chuck, right? Right. If it breaks this high here, we have a 1 minute chuck bullish, right, back into this POI. So what we can say is that we can use this high here, right, as a liquidity point, right, before this extreme, right? Meaning that I'm not going to sell from here, right? The only way I'm ever going to sell is making sure that we have inducement before a POI on the 1 minute time frame. So the 1 minute has inducement before a 1 minute POI, right? So I'll only wait for this one POI here for a 15-second chop entry to take a sell, okay? This is very, very important. Make sure you write this down. So 15-second comes back into here, sweeping this 1 minute high here as inducement for this POI, and then a 15-second chop for your entry, okay? So in terms of a example, this is literally the perfect example where there was no inducement on the 15-minute, on the 1 minute though. On the 1 minute though, can you see how the 1 minute does this, right? It's like bullish, it then chucks bearish, which is here, right? So the 1 minute chucks bearish, right? But coming into this, we did have inducement, but let's say we didn't have any inducement before it. And let's say it was just like this, right? Let's say it's just 1 minute, it goes bearish, right? And here, right? Let's say because there was no liquidity on the left, there was no on the 1 minute, there wasn't on the 15-minute. So now you see how we push up and then we push back down, breaking this low, right? So you see how this high now becomes a liquidity point to get swept, right? So as you can see how perfectly price swept this high, still is maintained, is still underneath the actual high of this wick, right? Meaning, like, you know, this high, this range, this 1 minute range is still valid, right? To look for an entry if we get a 15-second shock, yeah. So perfectly swept that 1 minute inducement, gives you that 15-second shock, which is just a simple sell to buy, takes the high, gap in the middle, bearish candle, then it breaks the low, gap here as well, the bottom, right? Perfect, right? So this is a perfect entry where you can simply enter on the chalk itself, stop loss above the high, because the stop loss is only 1.1 pip, so it's tiny, yeah. Like, it's so small that you can simply enter on the chalk itself, right? What's the point of waiting for mitigation when, like, your stop loss is so small enough, right? That there's no point, there's no purpose of a mitigation. There's literally no purpose. And if you're waiting for mitigation because you want to have a 0.5 pip stop loss or something, which, you know, you can't even get filled on in terms of prop firms or anything, due to the risk and stuff. So there's no point. And then you miss the whole trade, right? So hopefully everyone understands this first entry model. Okay. Let me just see. Oh, you wrote down loads of questions. Put your hands up, bro. Put your hands up. Let me just go through. Wait. Let me go through. So basically, so we should always look for liquidity on the 15-minute before jumping down to the 1 minute. I think people get impatient and count every little thing on the 1 minute as inducement. Exactly, yeah. So always waiting, like I said, yeah, always waiting for the 15-minute inducement before the 15-minute POI. If not, wait for 1 minute to either create inducement before it or sweep inducement after the chalk on the 1 minute. Yeah. Hi, Kash. I have a question. When it's a LOFR not valid anymore, but if a new chalk happens inside the current LOFR, which chalk is valid? Okay, so in terms of order flow ranges, simply you see how like this high to this low is your order flow range. The only way this is gonna get invalidated is if it goes and breaks this high, or if it creates a new range, right? Then I don't care about this high as in like an order flow range, like it becomes this high now, yeah? So you just keep following it. You keep following it, be like, okay, this to this, then it breaks. Okay, so now it's here to here, but then it goes from here to here. This is your high and low, yeah? So you keep following this. Now we chop bullish, right? The pullback, continue bullish, right? Like this, yeah? So don't confuse yourself with like Booth and Chalk, Nezha, because like, yeah, you're just gonna confuse your brain. But simply just follow your ranges. Just say one thing, like, you know, we have a Chalk. If we have a Chalk bullish, right? Let's say there was a new range here. Let's say there was a bullish buy to sell like this new 15-minute order flow range, and then we go bullish here. Yeah. Then okay, then you can say, okay, here to here, this could happen as in your bullish order flow, right? You see, this is your chalk and that's it, right? Or we just continue in the flow, bearish, right? That's it. Don't confuse yourself. Yeah, like I'll show you more examples later if you need. So for double confirmation entry, you mean both the 1 minute chalk and the 15-second chalk? Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, 1 minute chalk and the 15-second chalk is a double confirmation entry. Sweet. So this extra 15-second double confirmation gives me so much more confidence. Yeah, I know it does. Literally, it's amazing. Quadruple double top. What happens if the 1 minute inducement sweeps the low first and then the high on the range? It sweeps the low first and then the high, yeah? Like this, then this, yeah? This is inducement for that 15-minute POI, okay? So then, yes, as you can see, you sweep it and we get a 1 minute chalk entry, yeah? Like, let's say there was nothing here, there was no 1 minute chalk here, and let's say it was just like this right here, yeah? Then we want to see 1 minute chalk happens, right? Either it sweeps this high as a fake chalk, or it gives you more price action, right? It develops more price action like this, yeah? Then you can sweep this high to come into a higher POI, and then use a 15 seconds inside of here. Does that make sense? Yeah? What if proper chalk will happen just above a 15-minute POI, let's say in an area between the two? Yeah, if it happens in between two 15-minute POIs and it's just imbalance, like you see how here, for example, let's say all of this is imbalance, and then we have this POI and this one, and you get a 1 minute chalk here, then I'm not taking it. Like, that's simple. I'm not taking an entry there. I'm only taking it if it comes into mitigation of this POI or this POI. That's it. It can't, if it breaks this one, now it's invalidated. It's invalidated. So I'll wait for this, right? Just wait for like entries to come into your POI, and every single trade that you see on my markups and stuff, and every trade that I take, and all the textbook entries are all these same ones. And as you can see with the strike rate and with the RR and everything, like just stick to what works, and that's it. In the example you showed now, it's starting from a 15-minute shot, but can we play the exact same thing also in a continuation? Yeah, everything's same. It doesn't matter if it's a chalk or continuation, right? You're still gonna use the same rules to apply, right? Just because like this is your well, this is a continuation, right? This was your 15-minute chalk bearish from bullish to bearish, but this one is already going like bullish, and then you see the sweep, and then you take an entry to continue bullish. So it doesn't matter if it's a chalk or if it's continuing bullish. You still look for the exact same scenario, same model, yeah, same entry model. If you're unsure about a 15-minute inducement, can you just wait for 1 minute inducement? Yeah, you can. Bro, I just understood the shady entry from this week when I was lost. The 1 minute small liquidity after a 1 minute chalk. Yeah. Oh, nice. So if price on the 1 minute has to sweep some liquidity coming back into a 1 minute POR, we can just enter on 15-second chalk. Makes sense. Yeah. In the example you now showed, it's starting from a 50-minute shock, is shifting from bullish to bearish, can replay the exact same thing in a continuation of 50-minute order flow range. So if we are bullish and keep going bullish after a pullback into discount, and I mean, if we're not in a 4-hour POI, yeah, that's exactly what I said. So if continuing bullish, right, and we're not in a 4-hour POI, yeah, we continue to use the same rules, either inducement here or the 1 minute creates inducement, sweeps it, and then takes the entry. Yeah. Do you understand the trade? So when the 15-second does a chock to come back to a 1 minute POI, but it doesn't come back to the POI, instead it just comes back, but not far enough. Do you go back to the 1 minute, wait for a chock? Yeah. So if it doesn't come into a 1 minute POI, I'll just stay on the 1 minute. Yeah, stay on the 1 minute to see a 1 minute chock again, and then take an entry that way. Take an entry that way, yeah, same. So 1 minute chock can happen. 1 minute chock can happen, but it doesn't come into the POI for 15-second chock. It just happens like this 1 minute chock here, right? Then I'll look here for the same thing, like either 15-second realignment. But yeah, pretty much at that point, like you can just enter this trade because you've already got all the confirmations from before. You know, you only need at least 5 confirmations to take the entry. At this point, you know, you've already got the 1 minute chock and you got another 1 minute chock. Like, yeah, you can just simply enter this trade. And that's fine. That is your double confirmation because it's high time frame, so it's just better. 1 minute inducement only on the right. Yeah, only on the right. Don't look to the left. Yeah. So it has to happen, right, when it's mitigating. You know, your 50-minute POI is like here. Don't look here on the 1 minute time frame. No, look here on the 1 minute time frame when it's coming down, when it's mitigating your entry. Yeah, makes sense. So when 1 minute chocks back bearish to a 1 minute POI, can we enter after a 15-second chock, or do we need a new chock? No, you can just simply enter on the 15-second chock, right, after it sweeps. You don't need another 1 minute chock, because as soon as you get the 1 minute chock already the first time you get it, now even if the 1 minute now comes back bearish back into that 1 minute POI, you can still take a 15-second chock. That's fine. You don't need again 1 minute back to bullish. Yeah, you don't need that. All right. So Chad, you got a question?
No, sorry, mate. That was just me testing it earlier, putting hands up.
Sick, no worries.
Cheers,
Data boy, how you doing, bro?
Good. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good, man. So
Good. So, quick question.
yeah.
I'm assuming it's kind of like the same idea as like, so let's say we're coming back into a POI, right?
Mhm.
And we get this flip, and within
Yeah.
here we can play like a 15x confirmation because 15x is coming back bearish.
Yeah,
But obviously the extreme is still valid, right?
yeah,
So it's kind of the same idea as like the 15M, where the first one that causes like the 4-hour
yeah. I'm gonna talk about that afterwards.
lower high, lower, lower. Okay, cool.
Yeah. It happens.
Perfect, that's all.
Yeah, I'll talk about that later. But do you understand everything so far?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Sick, bro, sick.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Okay, let's talk about the second one now. Perfect. So hopefully everyone has understood this one, and let's talk about this now. So let's say now, you're right, we are inside of a 4-hour POI. So let's just draw that out. So this is your 4-hour POI demand zone, right? So 4-hour POI, what we can do now is because we already have this one confirmation now that it's a high time frame POI. High time frame POI supply and demand zones obviously have more weight to that area, that point of interest, because we have a lot more stacked orders, right, resting on a high time frame level, right, rather than a little like 1 minute chock and stuff, 5-second chocks. Like there's not a lot of orders like, you know, building up and over time inside of these little chocks. That's why you see them like chock up and down like every time. Whereas a high time frame, they don't do that stuff, right? Because there's a lot more time and a lot more volume of orders being stacked in the sell to buy, right? They stack all the sell orders before they buy up. So when they come back down to mitigate, usually you see a bullish reaction. And like I said at the other day, the bullish reaction can do two things. It could either be used as a little pullback before lower pricing, or it could use this demand zone as a cause for a full reversal, right, to continue higher pricing. Okay, so because of that being like already a higher time frame confirmation, right, 4-hour demand or supply zone, instead of waiting for this big 15-minute chop to happen, right? We can wait for just a 5-minute chop to happen. Yeah, not 1 minute, not 15 seconds, but a 5-minute, right? So it's not too small and it's not too big that you miss the whole move waiting for this, right? And honestly, this entry model is the one as well that presents the highest strike rate out of these two models, which is, you know, amazing. Like, and it's more simple too, which is mad. You just have to be more patient to wait for this, because obviously it's not always going to come into a 4-hour POI. But when you do get these entries, like they do bang, like, you know, really good. So it's amazing. So 4-hour demand zone, let's say now price comes into it. And now, because we tapped in, what you can do straight away now is jump onto the 5-minute time frame now. Yeah. So we come in, right? And now in the 5-minute, we're monitoring where the 5-minute chop will be. Let's say it's this high. Yeah. So the 5-minute chop happens first, right? And this is what we need to see. And simply, the 5-minute always needs to be in your favor, right? So let's say we are looking for longs. This 5-minute range always needs to be bullish, right? It can't continue bullish and go back bearish here. Yeah, you can't be doing stuff like that. Just always make sure it's always bullish, right? If you're looking for longs, and if you're looking for shorts, obviously make sure it's always bearish to look for sells, this range, right? So now 5-minute bullish, right? So now this entry is so simple, right? You don't have to wait for like all this stuff on in terms of the inducement and everything, right? In terms of inducement, you don't have to even wait for that. You can just simply put your fib tool from the low to the high, right? And wait for price to come into, you know, the discount of the range, right? So you can have your POIs, you know, marked up in the discount. You can have your like SD flip zone and extreme, for example, yeah. And this is so simple. Like all you have to simply do on this one is the 15 seconds coming down bearish, and we tap in, yeah, into the discount, right? And now simply wait for the 15-second chuck and take the entry. Yeah. Like I can't make it more simple than that. Like it's literally so simple but so effective. Like it's mad how systematic and effective this could be. And it, like, yeah, it's mad. And you simply just take your trade like this. On the mitigation, take it, right? 10R, take that setup, right? Let's just mark it up. Yeah. So I'm gonna show you some example of this and answer your question. So let's see where it was. I think it was right here. Yeah. You should all remember this day. It was insane. Okay, so 4-hour, right? Can you see on the left, right? We have this 4-hour demand zone, this sell to buy on a high time frame. Can't remember what time frame it was, 6 or 7. Yeah, 7-hour time frame. We have this. I think it was 8-hour as well. This sell to buy engulfing candle here. So you use this as an extreme of that 4-hour bullish range, right? Which is from here to here. Okay, this extreme, right? Very discounted pricing as well. So, you know, amazing POI, like with pro trend 4-hour, great. Okay, so now we can simply jump onto the 5-minute time frame as soon as price comes into it. Yeah. So now, as you can see, price taps into it here, and now we can look for the 5-minute time frame, right? So 5-minute, right? It gives you first a chop, which happens from here. We are bearish, and then we go bullish, right? So because we go bullish, you map up your premium discount from the low to the high. You know, you wait like for the 1-minute POIs to get tapped in, and you take the 15-second entry, right? But this one loses. I'm gonna show you this entry, and I'll show you the one that wins. It's exactly the same setup. Like it's exactly textbook, like literally picture perfect. They all look the same. Whether it loses or wins, doesn't matter. They all look the same. So it's crazy how like probabilities work out. Like if you just avoided all of them, or you like, yeah, you only took the first trade and you didn't take the second one, then yeah, you would have missed out on like 3 winners in this scenario, like 10-hour trades in this one price action. I think it's just like 1 hour. Yeah, like 1.5 hours of like just trading in the morning. you could have like passed any sort of challenge or anything. So made you 10% profit on just one trade. So as you can see, right, what happens though? It actually takes out the low, right? So the 5 minute goes from here to here because we take out the low. But remember the same thing about what I said about the 4 hour and 15 minute order flow ranges is about what flipped and broke the range becomes your new order flow range, right? What flipped and broke the range, right? It didn't just do a one clean push down to break this low, right? Then it would be this to this. What it did instead was it comes in to the demand, right, or to the low, right? It then gives a reaction, pushes up. You see that bullish candle, and you see a gap in the middle between this wick and the break. It's hard to see right